Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a really interesting topic, gender equality within Islam, but going straight to the source text.
Exactly. We're looking directly at the foundations.
Right, no hearsay. Our mission is to unpack what excerpts from Divine Reward, gender equality in Islam, specifically a key Quranic verse and related Hadith literature, actually tell us about the core principles. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and I think diving into primary sources like this is so valuable. You get past layers of interpretation.
Definitely.
And today we're drawing from Divine Reward, which does a great job of linking specific Quranic verses with Hadith to build its points.
And for anyone maybe less familiar, Hadith means the sayings and actions of the Prophet Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
A key source alongside the Quran.
Precisely. It provides context and elaboration.
So let's start with that foundation, because the sources really highlight, maybe surprisingly for some, this idea of spiritual equality right from the get-go.
Absolutely. It's central.
Our sources point us to Quran chapter 16, verse 97. And it reads, "Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while being a believer, we will surely cause him to live a good life, and will surely give them their reward in the hereafter, according to the best of what they used to do." Here's where it gets really interesting. That explicit mention, whether male or female, how significant was that back then?
Oh, hugely significant. I mean, think about the 7th century context.
Right.
Many societies had very entrenched gender hierarchies, even in spiritual terms. This verse just cuts straight through that.
How so?
Well, it makes divine reward clearly dependent on two things: belief and righteous actions. Your gender, not part of that specific calculation for reward.
So faith and deeds, full stop.
Exactly. It establishes, a direct accountability to God irrespective of gender. And our source, Divine Reward, emphasizes that this isn't just a one-off verse. No, this principle of spiritual parity, it's consistently echoed in the authentic Hadith collections, too. So the primary sources are aligned on this. It really positioned women as full moral agents, pretty progressive for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. That idea of being equal in spiritual worth, that's the foundation, isn't it?
It really is.
So what does this all mean? How does that spiritual equality translate into, like, practical guidelines or rights mentioned in the sources? The book talks about a rich tapestry of guidelines.
Right, it does. And it's not just vague pronouncements. The sources get quite specific.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, well, areas like marriage, for instance. Women are to be treated with honor, respect, justice. That it goes further.
How so?
The sources detail things like a woman's right to her own independent property and earnings. What's hers is hers, separate from her husband's.
Even if she's married.
Even if she's married.
Yeah.
And she still has a right to be financially maintained by her husband, regardless of her own wealth.
Wow, okay. That's quite specific.
Very. And there's more. Emphasis on her explicit consent for marriage. It's invalid without it. And even the right for a woman to seek divorce under certain conditions. These details really underscore her autonomy.
That's a strong sense of agency, especially for that historical period.
Yeah.
What about outside marriage? Did the sources mention, say, intellectual life or public roles?
You do, yeah. Divine Reward highlights this too. The sources acknowledge women's intellectual contributions.
So not just focused on the domestic sphere.
Not at all. They cite examples from early Islamic history of women as scholars, as legal experts, as teachers, actively involved in knowledge.
Right.
And this wasn't seen as, an exception. It flowed from that basic principle, equal spiritual and intellectual capacity. These practical rights, they all tie back to that foundational spiritual equality we started with. It's meant to be a comprehensive view.
It really sounds like it. So wrapping this up for today, the key takeaway seems to be this really strong emphasis in the Quran and Hadith on, one, spiritual equality, and two, a whole set of comprehensive rights for women.
That's a fair summary.
So something for you, the listener, to think about how these foundational texts present a kind of holistic view where spiritual worth is tied directly to faith and actions, not gender. How might seeing that perspective influence your own understanding of equality? Maybe challenge some narratives you've heard.
Yeah, and that leads to maybe a final thought or question from me. When we talk about gender roles and equality today, how does understanding this textual basis from early Islam, these principles of rights and spiritual parity, how does that maybe challenge or perhaps affirm our broader societal conversations? Does it offer a different historical lens?
A lot to consider there.
Yeah.
Definitely food for thought.